recently the question came up, why are so many young people wearing dentures now? What is the cause of that? Young people have always had dentures. This is not a new thing. What is new, however, is social media. Having Facebook support groups, having TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube where people are talking about their journeys. So you are seeing the faces of the people who have prosthetic teeth, and they are younger people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, not just elderly people, not just people. I'm not saying that 60s and 70s is elderly, but society says 60s and 70s is elderly. I am 56, so I am rolling really close to that elderly's part. But people only see elderly people as having dentures, but that is not the case, and it has never been the case that only elderly people have dentures. What has been the case is that younger people have not talked about their journey. There was no social media. When I started wearing dentures in 2007 at 39 years old, there was nowhere to go for support. There was no one sharing their journeys. It seemed like I was alone as a 39-year-old person who had prosthetic teeth, because people did not talk. They do not talk about their journey being younger. There are people who do, but there are so many more who don't, because there is a stigma. There has always been a stigma attached to being younger with prosthetic teeth. There has always been a stigma attached to being a woman with prosthetic teeth, for being a woman with no teeth. There have always been, since forever, there have been jokes since the 20s, the 30s, the 1920s and 30s. I know I didn't really need to specify that, but since the 1920s and 30s, over 100 years, there have been blue jokes about women who do not have teeth. So women are not going to talk about not having teeth, about being toothless, about having dentures, because they know what society says. I have heard it myself when I have gone to see comedians and just kind of sat there, not appreciating that joke, knowing that not just myself was in the audience, but there were other people who also had prosthetic teeth sitting in that audience, and we had to listen to that, and we had to listen to people laugh. And it's not funny. It just perpetuates that stigma that is attached to people who have no teeth, who have prosthetic teeth. So young people have always, since the beginning of prosthetic teeth, have had them, but they have not talked about their journeys. I know a lot of people who would be 70, 80, 90, over 100, who had no teeth in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s. My mom, my grandma, my great-grandmother, my best friend's mom was 16 when she got dentures. She would be in her 80s now. I saw under that question a lot of people who said, my dad has had dentures since he was in his 20s. My mom was in her 30s. My grandparents were in their 20s. And these are people who are now in their 70s, 80s, 90s, or no longer here, who would be over 90 or over 100. So prosthetic teeth have always been something that younger people have had. But there has always been this stigma attached. People are starting to break that stigma, to normalize having prosthetic teeth, to talk about their journeys, younger people. So we're seeing more younger people talking about their journey, which makes it seem like it's a new thing. Like there is some kind of epidemic of young people who have prosthetic teeth. But autoimmune disorders have always been around. Whether or not they just in the last 20, 30, 40 years had a name attached to them, those autoimmune disorders have always been around. They just didn't have a name. They were lumped with something else. And other illnesses, they've always been there. They just were lumped somewhere else, and they didn't have the same names that they have now, but they've always been around. Genetics, pregnancy, autoimmune disorders, illnesses, cancer treatment, medications, domestic violence, accidents. There's a long list of reasons why people have no teeth and have prosthetic teeth. It is not just because of lack of care in taking care of your teeth. botched dental work is a cause. Not being able to have accessible dental health care is a cause, but it's not just a laziness. But a lot of people assume that just because someone has no teeth, they were too lazy to take care of their teeth. Or a quicker assumption is that they use drugs. First thing people say is meth. And you know what? I saw that recently. I saw that on that question. Somebody they wrote it. That's all they wrote was that word. And I commented and I said, that's not the only reason that younger people lose their teeth, have their teeth extracted. I hate lose their teeth. Like they were going to find them one day. Why their teeth are extracted. That word is not the cause for the majority of people. Is it the cause for some people? Sure. Has been since whenever that became an issue. The 60s, the 70s. You know what? Drugs have been around since the 20s, 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s. They've been around forever. And they have caused damage to people's teeth. Sure, but that is not the only reason that people have their teeth extracted. There are so many reasons, and there are more reasons aside from that reason. More reasons aside from lack of care. Depression is a cause for people to not have their teeth. The depression causes them to not have the energy to take care of themselves. It's the symptom of a cause. And there are a lot of reasons why people are on this journey. And because of the stigma that is attached to that, they have kept that secret. When I started wearing dentures 16 years ago, it was not talked about. I didn't know anyone who had dentures. And, well, my mom had dentures. That's the only person that I knew who had dentures. I didn't know anyone else who had dentures. I now know that I knew people who had dentures, because 2 years ago when I started talking about my journey, when I replaced my 14-year-old dentures in April of 2021, I found out that a lot of people that I've known for 10, 20 or more years had prosthetic teeth, but I did not know that until I started talking about my journey. And I'd known them for a long time, and I had no idea that they had prosthetic teeth because of the stigma that is attached to it. People keep that to themselves. I don't know how many times I've seen people say, I did not know my insert elderly relative. People didn't know that insert elderly relative, grandparent, aunt, uncle, parent even had prosthetic teeth because they never told anyone, because they felt a shame attached to having dentures. So they didn't tell anyone that they had them. And a lot of people do not find out that their elderly relatives have prosthetic teeth until they either need to be cared for or until they pass away, because they keep that a secret because of the stigma that has been attached to having no teeth, having prosthetic teeth. It's always been there. Young people have always had dentures. They just haven't talked about it. And now there are voices, there are people, we are talking about our journey. We are saying we are younger and we have prosthetic teeth. And we are voices for people who are younger with prosthetic teeth. So there's a voice now. There are people letting people know that there are other reasons besides what people automatically assume when it comes to having prosthetic teeth. They're prosthetics. They are just like having a prosthetic limb. We go through mental things, having to adjust to having prosthetic teeth. It is a very emotional journey. There is a huge mental exhaustion that comes with having to have your teeth extracted and to have prosthetic teeth and to have to learn them. There is a lot that goes with that. And we are talking about it. More and more of us are trying to break that stigma. More and more of us are trying to normalize this. So I just wanted to do this video and let people know that if you are younger and you are wearing prosthetic teeth, it's not something that you should feel shame about, because younger people have always had issues with their teeth and either not had teeth at all or had prosthetic teeth. You are not alone. There is nothing wrong. You are part of a large group of people who have been exactly where you are for generations. And I just wanted to do this video and talk about that because it is so important to make this not be a secret, to break the stigma and to normalize having dentures. I'm going to go ahead and go. I just kind of wanted to do this really quick message and just let you know, I was 39, so you're not alone. I was young when I got my dentures. I'm 56 years old and I've had them for 16 years. But I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.